Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another Dragon Ball figure unboxing video, and I am very excited because today we get to open up the Dragon Ball FIGHTERZ Dragon Ball Games Battle Hour exclusive 2022 Android 21 Lab Coat Edition. Now, if you are unfamiliar as to the origins of this figure, because I'm sure some of you may be thinking, wait, we got an Android 21 as a Figuarts figure? When did this happen? Essentially, for the Dragon Ball Games Battle Hour of 2022, this year, we had a exclusive figure being, of course, this Android 21. In the past, I believe the figure was the alternate clone Goku, and this year they decided to make it Android 21. I gotta say, that is definitely, I don't know if I would say a big step up, or like a worse choice, because it's like on one hand, that is such a cooler figure, but on the other hand, I'm sure that more people would want this character than just getting it from a very exclusive kind of niche thing, you know what I mean? So I feel like it has its pros and cons in that regard. I'm trying to get her out of the box. I think I can just, there we go. Very interesting that they are using the black packaging, because usually they reserve that for convention exclusives, but I mean, that is pretty cool to see. I guess it does make sense, because obviously this is an exclusive. Alright, so it is a little bit different than the usual black packaging, though. Typically for the black packaging, it has like a sort of stylized version of the character on the side. But there you go. As you can see, here is the front of the box. Very nice print of Android 21 on there. Of course, we have the Android 21 text that you can see on the side there, the windowed box. We have a bunch of different poses, then you could put Android 21 in if you so wish. We have the back of the box here, which of course shows a bunch of the accessories and whatnot, as well as the Bandai Namco logo. Unfortunately, they started using that new logo and not the old one, which I personally find much better. But oh well, it is what it is. Lots of cool stuff with this figure, though. I'm actually pretty excited to take a look at it. The other side, of course, just having the text. The top having the Android 21 that got cut off at the side. And the bottom of the figure, of course, having Android 21. And with this, of course, this is the only way that you can get this figure. I mean, if you didn't understand what exclusive meant, I guess this is just a simpler explanation. You can't get this figure any other way. Well, I mean, I guess technically you could just buy it on eBay, but I mean, officially, right, the only way to get it was from the Dragon Ball Games Battle Hour. So if you didn't order it when the Battle Hour was happening, I hate to tell you, but you're probably going to have to pay a couple of pretty pennies for this figure on the old eBay.com. Alright, so let's go ahead. Ooh, I didn't even notice that on the actual little flap there's something. Is there an instruction booklet in the back? Yes, we always have to look and see what is the paper. Ooh, that smells really weird. Okay, well, we have a small little SH Figuarts advertisement here, as you can see. Very, very cool. Obviously, just showing a bunch of the different like figures that you can get and stuff like that. Pretty cool. It's interesting that they are advertising these. Also, funny enough, yes, these are technically the only two FIGHTERZ figures. So we'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, there you go. Premium Bandai exclusive. Wait, I don't think you could get her a Premium Bandai. I'm pretty sure it was just from the Battle Hour website. That's a little bit weird. Unless I'm just misremembering that. We do have the little instructions here. Obviously, we aren't really going to use these, but of course, you know, I wouldn't be a good unboxing channel if I didn't show you everything that was in the box. We have basically just telling you how to remove the head, the interchangeable glasses. I might actually use it for that because I do want to know how that works. Oh, and the little effect piece actually goes on her finger. That's pretty cool. And she has an arms crossed pose. Nice. I really like those, actually. I think that's a really cool thing that SHF does. All right. So let's go ahead and get her out of the box and inspect the base modeling here. I don't want to do this standing up. I want to do this like this, because I know for a fact if I do it down, all of the pieces will come flying out. Alright, let's get her out by the coat. Interestingly enough, this figure, wow, that looks really good. Interestingly enough, it doesn't have the little plastic that it usually does that tells you that it's an official figure in the waist. which would be right here. But I guess she doesn't really have a waist. Huh. Interesting. Well, here is the figure. Oh, what is this? There's just some plastic on her legs. Okay, I mean, I guess that's like to keep the coat up. Oh! Alright, well, we'll mess with the articulation, but that, I did not realize that the cape was articulated like that. That's really cool. Alright, so sculpt of the figure just out the gate looks really, really nice, if I do say so myself. I think this is a pretty good representation of the character. The lab coat. Oh, wait, there is plastic there. I just didn't see it. It's just a little strip. The representation of the character here is pretty good. Obviously, translating this from FIGHTERZ to 3D. We have the hair here. Ooh, the hair is articulated as well. That's really cool. A lot of nice little details on here, like the scrunches on the coat on her arm look really, really good. I think that they did a good job, like, capturing the sort of lab coat-ish look, especially with how these sort of flow down. These nice little creases are very nice little details. Oh, yeah, the Red Ribbon Army logo. Let's see. Let's tilt her head to the side a little bit. That looks really nice. It is sculpted on there too. It's not just a sticker, which is really nice because obviously they definitely didn't have to do that. Her body does move here, which is nice because, oh no, does it not move there? I figured it would move in her chest. Interesting. Oh no, it does a little bit. Okay. It's just kind of hard. Yeah, it's interesting that she doesn't really have a waist swivel, kinda. Oh, I guess she, okay, I guess you just can't see it. Interesting. The shoes as well, also, I have to say, very, very nice. I really like the gold paint that they chose for the tips. Obviously, sort of accentuating that fanciness, I guess. But yeah, very cool as well. I like the heels, that the figure actually has heels. I'm going to be shocked if this thing can stand without a stand. Well, I've been proven wrong. I cannot believe this thing can stand with heels. Wow, okay, that's honestly pretty impressive, because usually the little heels can't really help the figure stand. Alright, oh, and I just noticed I actually didn't forget her little hair tuft at the top. That's cute. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over articulation. I am going to be curious to see. So, for the hair, right, we have the head is obviously like the whole thing is articulated, right? So technically you could move the hair by, you know, moving the head around. But this actual like chunk of hair, as you can see, is actually articulated, which is pretty cool. Can you twist it? Kinda? Sort of not. Well, yeah, no, I'd give it a twist. Yeah, okay. It's a little bit weird looking because it's just like cropped off right there, but obviously, you know, when it comes to joints and things on figures, you kind of have to like use your imagination a little bit, I guess you would say. She does have an actual like neck joint here, right? Like, as you can see, it's not just her head. Her actual neck can move. I think, oh no, wait, that can show you it. See how the colors of the red and the blue are actually like moving a little bit? Oh, look, now the red is completely taken over. I gotta tilt her head back and then hold it to keep that in place. That is a little bit annoying, but obviously more articulation is always a good thing, so I'll let it slide on that front. How am I gonna keep that there? That is definitely gonna be a little bit annoying to keep in the middle, but she also has earrings too, which is cool that they even bothered including that. Obviously, with the waist, we already saw, I guess we're gonna have to take a look. Sorry, 21. It is just a ball peg. It's going to be hard for me to show you. Can you see that in there? I don't know if you can. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it in there. Yeah, it's just a ball peg that's being covered by the dress, right? So you obviously can't tell that, you know, there is a peg there, which I mean is good because obviously that would look really ugly if you could tell. With the legs, she can move, well, so obviously there's the waist swivel, right, that it can move 360 degrees. But with her legs can move very, very nicely, right, as you can see there. It does have a little bit of, you know, obviously pushback, but you have to be careful because since you can't see the joint connecting, you don't really know how far unless you're feeling it, like, kind of give you some tension. So definitely be a little bit careful with that. Obviously, her leg can kick up pretty far. It is a little bit limited by the skirt, which is kind of unfortunate. She can do, that's not really a good spread, kinda. I mean, obviously you could like sort of cheese it by bending her legs, but it doesn't really count in my book. With the knees though, you do have some very nice knee articulation. And the cool thing about this is it doesn't look like it's just an open gap since they actually put that little ball joint there. That looks really good. Her feet, I think, actually have a lot of good articulation. Yeah, because there's just a ball joint there. You can rotate them 360. There's some ankle pivot there, which is nice. You know, you can basically get any pose you would want. Ow! Obviously, the toe as well also bends up. I don't really know why you would need toe articulation because it's a shoe, but, like, you know, it's there if you want to use it. So that's pretty cool. Definitely a lot of good leg articulation despite how thin her actual legs are. As well, we also, of course, go to the back, and what we were talking about before, let's lift up her hair. Oh, you can see, by the way, that ball joint on the back of her hair there. These are on ball joints, which are really nice because obviously then these have like almost unlimited posability. Now, the only thing that is a little bit unfortunate is obviously you're looking at that giant ball joint. However, let me show you compared to, can she stand up if I like do this? Please? Perfect. If I grab Broly, who I actually have on hand, right? Even though his cloak kind of looks nicer. I mean, you can still see the joint a little bit. Like, maybe if this was pushed down a little bit more, right? Then, like, okay, that looks nicer because you can't tell that there's a joint there. The only thing that you can do with this cloak... Let me actually move 21 a little bit to the side here. Get her to stand up again. It's so hard with the heels. I also don't want the figure to fall over because, obviously, you know, exclusive. With this guy, right, you can see they joint a little bit in there. But if you move it up, right? Obviously, there's a spot for the joint, and you can see how the joint works. But it only has this as the articulation. There's nothing else that you can do, right? It's literally just up and down, and then these little pieces are just like soft fabric, and they're just connected, right? So that is the only articulation that you get for a back piece like that. However, even though it, you know, I mean, obviously this looks a little bit weird, but this is, of course, you know, I haven't, like, pushed this down properly. With 21... even though those ball joints may look a little bit uglier, it gives you a lot more in terms of articulation. So honestly, I would much rather have that and have the options for the articulation and have those little ball joints there. And I mean, they don't look too bad. They just look a little bit strange. But of course, when it comes to posable figures, you're going to have to accept that there's some, you know, joint seams and whatnot. But anyway, let's talk about her arms now. Obviously, with the arms, you can rotate the actual part 360. You can also rotate this bit 360, which I don't really think that is intentional. That's actually there for another accessory, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Obviously, with her arm, you can bend it backwards and forwards. Look at that, very nice, by the way. A little bit of coverage for the elbow, so it doesn't look too weird when you spread her elbow like really far, right? I like that they also actually bothered to, you know, sort of give her the rolled up sleeve look that she usually has. This is a very nice sculpting detail. But yeah, the hands can move like this, obviously 360. You can rotate them. Do be careful, by the way. I'm sure that the joint is fine, but that is a very small joint right there. I would definitely be delicate with that just because of how small that is. But yeah, other than that though, let's see. She can obviously dip her head very far. Let's see, how's the ab crunch? That's pretty good, honestly. It's okay, considering that obviously the skirt is blocking it. If the skirt wasn't blocking it, I think you could obviously get a lot more articulation on that. Her arms do have butterfly joints, by the way. So as you can see, right, let's take a look at that joint. You can push that back in there, and now it's sort of like straight down by her side, right? And then you can also push it forward if you wanted to get some articulation for, you know, more forward arm poses, I guess you would say. But yeah, I think that's about it. Again, she does have a little bit of articulation right there, but because the figure is so tight right there, I would highly recommend against posing that too much. You also don't want that to scratch the paint, because I know, funny enough, let me grab Broly again. Funny enough with Broly, because he has this little bit right here where you have the section of the armor that scratches against the other section of the armor, right? You can see that mine has chipped a lot on the paint department. Unfortunate, but obviously a byproduct of the hard plastic sort of rubbing against each other. So just be careful, right? It's definitely a little bit softer plastic with 21, I think. At least, of course, this part is. This part definitely feels a little bit more tough. But just be careful when you're handling the figure. Obviously, you don't want to be a rock-banging troglodyte when you're playing with this thing. You know, it is a collectible after all. Alright, so that's basically all the articulation. Definitely pretty good, honestly. It's very nice as well with like a skinnier figure to see some good articulation on the figure too, because sometimes they can kind of suffer because obviously they don't have as much body mass to work with. So this is very good. And I think that they got her face pretty well too. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk about her accessories now. First of all, let's see how this head works, because obviously we want to experiment a little bit with the glasses, right? So let's take off the front of her face. Ah! Horrifying! Man-made horrors beyond my comprehension. Okay, so with her face, right, you literally can just take it out of the back. And interesting, the glasses seem to literally just be a piece that you can put on and off. Yeah, I want to be very delicate with that, obviously. Okay, nice. So, as you can see, right, we'll look at the glasses in a second. There's little holes on the side of her face that are literally there for the glasses, right, which is kind of interesting. She can also hold the glasses too, but if you want to put them back on, right, obviously you would just kind of like aim and then slide them into the little slot that, you know, is meant for the glasses there. My glasses, funny enough, don't actually... Oh, no, you have to actually push it under her ear, I think. Because you can see right there, I know it's a little bit hard to see. It's not actually... Oops, sorry, 21. It's in the hole, right, on one side, but it's not actually on the other. So you definitely have to be very finicky when you're trying to get those in there. And I would also say definitely be careful, too, because you don't want to scratch the paint on the face either. Yeah, definitely be careful with that too, because you don't want to scratch up that either. Let's take a look at our other faces though. First of all, we have the screaming face, which, I mean, that's a pretty cool one. I definitely like that, even though it's probably not my favorite one. Of course, you gotta have some ones for some action poses for sure. The interesting thing about these heads as well, by the way, is that all of them technically have the glasses variant and the non-glasses variant, because they all have the little holes on the side of the head there. Ooh, this is interesting. On the gritting teeth face, you can actually see that mine looks like that's a paint error, but I believe that's how that's supposed to be. Kind of just like a little bit of a line of intensity to kind of give you a little bit of emotion on this. Quite interesting, if I do say so myself. If that is really an error and I just didn't see it on the, or like I'm misremembering that was actually on the original image, then that would be kind of funny. But I mean, I think that does look pretty good for the gritting teeth face. We have probably my favorite face, and honestly the one that I think will be the best for general use, is the smiling face for 21. Obviously, this 21 is known for being a little bit more happy-go-lucky than, of course, her evil Majin counterpart. So it makes sense that this one would be included. Definitely a very, very nice face, if I do say so myself. And finally, we're going to have to take a look at this in a second here, what the actual difference is between these two. But we have another one that is a angry face. This is different from the original one, I assure you, the one that came on the figure. Let's do a quick side-by-side comparison of the two. I guess the difference is the eyes. One is just a little bit more of an intense look than the other one. One is like, I'm ready to battle, and the other one is more of like a neutral face. Okay, I see it now. They do have a little bit of a different mouth too, which is interesting. Definitely very nice attention to detail, and I feel like other SH Figuarts figures, if it wasn't like an exclusive thing, may not have included that, because that face is so similar to, you know, obviously the original one. Alright, so I do want to see, right, let's take our happy face as our example here, and just put it on her hair, because I am quite curious, how does this look without the glasses, right? You want to slip that in there, by the way, before putting it on her hair. Usually you just put it on the face, but I think that will make the process a little bit easier. Yeah, okay, so the nice thing about this is that her bangs actually cover those slots for the glasses, which is really nice, and honestly a very good, you know, again, attention to detail on that, because obviously they totally could have had it where you could have just seen those slots and wouldn't have looked really ugly on the figure, but you have it where it just looks very normal. So yeah, that is pretty cool, honestly. Good job, Bandai, for that one, because honestly, it looks fantastic without the glasses too. All of those faces do. Obviously you saw those in the pictures before, but I just wanted to show you like actually putting it on her head. We can also use those glasses as an accessory as well. And speaking of more accessories, we now have to go over all of the different hands that she has, because she obviously has quite a few pairs here. With this being an exclusive figure, since it does cost a little bit more, they always try and cram in as many things as they can with this. So for hands, we have, of course, the close fist hands, which do look very good. And we also have the ring on her finger, which is very nice. I'm assuming, you know, that is a reference that she is technically married to Dr. Gero. Obviously, well, I mean, I guess she's a widow at this point because, you know, Gero gone. But we have the open palm hands. Obviously, a lot of these hands will be Dragon Ball hand staples, but they do look pretty good. And obviously, they actually bothered to paint her nails correctly, which is nice to see with that little detail. You have the sort of battle stance hands, I guess is what you would call these. These are basically Dragon Ball figure staples as well. These kind of like readied up pose hands. Even though I don't really think that 21 maybe takes this pose. I mean, I guess they are a little bit more esque to her fit, whereas Goku's are a little bit more like in pose to battle. You do have the open palm hands here, or I guess you would say open palm closed thumb, because it's not like the first ones where obviously the fingers were spread apart. I like to call these the Big Bang Attack hands because that is what they really remind me of, even though obviously she does not do the Big Bang Attack. We have the pointy finger hands, which, I mean, you know, I usually call these the Death Beam hands, but of course they are just for pointing. And of course, this is the hand where you can attach the effect part, which is pretty cool. I'll show you how to do that in a second, but obviously it's on your screen right now. And then we have the other fist hands, which are for holding the glasses. So I guess these would be more like just glasses holding hands is what you would call them. I don't think I've ever had to say that. But yeah, a little bit more closer to fists. You could definitely use these for some kind of like punching thing, or they kind of remind me of like when Yamcha does the Wolf Fang fist. I don't know, something like that. But that is what they are meant for. And of course, last but not least, we have the arms crossed, which I will also show you how to put that on in a second here. But that does look really, really good. SH Figuarts does a fantastic job of making these parts work really well, because obviously, you know, the characters that need the arm cross that's super iconic for them, it's cool to see that they actually, you know, bother to put in the technology for these to work. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually do the little effect parts here. So let's grab one of the pointy hands, because obviously I can show you how it looks, but I want to show you how the actual function of the piece works too, because if you do decide to get this figure for yourself, or just, you know, general purpose for a more well-rounded review, this is literally just that's it. I mean, it's not that complicated for this one, but it does look really good. Obviously you guys did already see it. Actually, on my this hand in particular, the nail looks really weird. But yeah, overall this effect piece looks really good. Obviously, there's a bunch of different posability options that you could have with this, so that's pretty cool. And then let me actually show you how to put this on, because this is like not really complicated, but it is a little bit complicated in terms of actually putting it on. So this is going to be a little bit grotesque. Sorry I put the smiling face on you, because it definitely doesn't fit what's about to happen, 21. I'm so sorry. Ah. Alright, so you gotta... Oh, jeez, this is a mess. You gotta rip her arms off, right, at that joint. This is what I was talking about earlier, where this joint isn't really meant to be like... You know, it's not really meant to be there for the posability aspect of it. It's, oh, this is so cursed. Let me fix this immediately. This is meant for the hands that have her arms crossed. So what you do for these is you take the peg and you literally just bop that in there. You definitely are going to have to play with this a little bit, because it is not the easiest to get it like perfect, right? Let's go ahead and, oh, this also looks, okay, so push it in there. Yeah, because keep in mind, this is also a ball joint. Let me move her hair out of the way here. Since this is a joint right here, it's definitely going to be a little bit difficult to get it in there, because of course it's also moving. Okay, that should be good right there. We'll just leave it there for now. This is also just really strange. This is a very strange look. But anyway, let's put this down. And then I think we should be able to simply just push that up into the joints. Okay, well, there goes her face. I guess we'll leave that off for the minute. This is very difficult to do. I mean, also, why is there a little bit of extra plastic on mine? That's a big no-no, Bandai. I literally look at my hands. I can't get this in. Hold on, let me do it off camera. Alright, we got it. It is definitely a little bit difficult to do. I definitely recommend being careful with this when you're doing it. Again, I do think that the best way is to literally just have it attached on one, keep the other one down, and then just push it in, right? Look how easy that was now that I actually just did it by myself off camera. But this does look... Oh, well, hold on. Let me... let me actually give her a face real quick. I want to see, how does this work too with putting her face on first? Okay, that's actually not that bad either. You can do it either way. But yeah, there you go. Look how good that looks, dude. That is sick. That is so perfect. Like, the way that the hands are sculpted around the actual body too, they do a fantastic job of, you know, having this, like, really feel like it's not just an extra plastic piece and that it's actually, like, her arms crossed, right? I think that they do a very good job of actually, you know, making it feel like it's one complete figure rather than a chunk of plastic to represent her arms, right? Very good job, Bandai. I think they did a very good job with the accessories on this too, because a lot of the time I feel like SH Figuarts figures lately could have definitely had more accessories. And even though, you know, it is only a couple, I think it is really, you know, everything that you would need for an Android 21 figure. I can't really think of anything else that you would really want for Scientist 21 specifically. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into our size comparisons now. Guys, when I tell you the worst part about this figure is easily getting her to stand up, it's getting her to stand up. You may want to invest in a stand for this one, because even though it looks really good when she's standing there, man, I gotta tell you, it is a little bit hard to get her into that standing position. But as you can see here, we do have our size comparisons. Let me give you this little bit of a close-up before we actually pan out a little bit, because obviously, as you can see, Gotenks is a little bit taller than 21. If we pull the camera back a little bit, or I guess pull the figures back, please stand up, I'm begging you. Thank you. As you can see, right, Gotenks is definitely pretty considerably taller than 21 here. Of course, this is a SH Figuarts figure, so the size definitely makes a little bit of sense in terms of the comparison here. And it should be around, yep, the 6-inch mark. That is about-ish how it looks on camera. Funny enough, on camera it looks more like 6.5, but yeah, I can assure you this is basically your standard SH Figuarts 6-inch figure. And speaking of SH Figuarts, let's go ahead and move the usual boys off of the screen and get some other SH Figuarts figures on the camera here. So, of course, how could I not, right? We can also bring her back a little bit here. Hello, 21, come back into the frame, please. There we go. We, of course, have Goku, right? We could literally not have a SH Figuarts figure review without this Goku, of course. The gold standard Goku, and these two do look very good together. We have the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Super Superhero Gohan. I figured since this guy is really relevant right now, and obviously everybody and their mother is enjoying Dragon Ball Superhero, definitely a good figure to bring out for comparison. And the other figure that I wanted to show you was actually the technically only other FIGHTERZ figure, and she is also ironically really hard to stand up because of her small legs. But we have the SH Figuarts Kefla. This was the figure that won a poll where basically all of the characters that didn't have SH Figuarts figures yet would get one from FIGHTERZ, right? So if they didn't have an already existing one, FIGHTERZ roster basically was used as the list as, okay, which out of these that don't already have an existing one are getting a figure in Kefla 1. So technically the only other FIGHTERZ SH Figuarts figure, again, technicality, because it's also just like a regular figure, and obviously 21 is from FIGHTERZ. And I guess, speaking of FIGHTERZ, since he is DLC in the game, and you know, it is a little bit of a different one than usual, he's going to peek over Gohan's shoulder here. We do have the SH Figuarts Premium Bandai Kula, and these guys all look really, really good together. Holy cow, does 21 fit in nicely with the rest of these figures? I have to say, that is one thing that I really love about SH Figuarts, is that even though all of these characters come from very different styles, honestly, I mean, they're all Dragon Ball styles and Dragon Ball Z styles, don't get me wrong, but we have Dragon Ball Super, we have Dragon Ball Super Hero, right? We have the Dragon Ball movies, right? We have Goku, who's basically just from everything, and of course 21, who is more akin to that FIGHTERZ style. All of them look like they are, you know, very similar. Even though Gohan definitely has a little bit more of that superhero aesthetic, I think he still fits in here quite well. So it's very nice to have a posable 21 figure. Obviously, we do not have that many figures of her, you know, at all. So it's nice to have a option like this out there for you to grab. I would love if they ended up making a Majin 21. I know that there are a couple of Ichiban Kuji ones, but unless I'm literally just forgetting, and then Editor Theo will just call me a dummy and smack me on the screen right now, but if that's not happening, then I guess what I'm about to say is correct. There isn't a Majin 21 SH Figuarts figure, though I feel like now that I'm saying that, maybe I'm second guessing myself, but it is nice to have Lab Coat 21 because obviously this is a super popular design for the character, and of course just a super popular character in general. If you do want to pick this figure up, I highly recommend it because, again, it's very good SH Figuarts quality. Again, not a character that you see too often. It's a little bit more of a rarity than just another Goku. You will have to get it secondhand though from something like eBay because obviously it was a Dragon Ball Battle Hour exclusive where you had to buy it during the Battle Hour celebration, and it just shipped now. I don't know why. Even though the figure does have some things that are not the best, obviously you saw that there was a little bit of extra plastic on the crossed arms piece. If you noticed it on her hair, there was actually some little factory marks from where it was split from the original mold, which is kind of unfortunate. Obviously, she does have a little bit of trouble standing, but that's more so just because the design of the character is so back heavy with the hair and the lab coat there. But you know, other than those little things, I think the accessories are fantastic, right? The posability is really good, of course, if you can get her to stand. And it just looks like 21. Like, it's a very good representation of the character. If you would like to support more videos like this, you can do so over on the old Patreon. That is exclusively for figure content, so definitely head over there if you would like to support your boy. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section below. Definitely a fantastic choice for any 21 fan. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.